Hi, folks. This is Don Meissner with the North Country Fishing Report. I've just got back from spending almost a week in Marlborough, Massachusetts for our first major sports show of the winter, where Linda and I go and we basically represent our area to people that are looking for places to come fishing. And I wanted to tell you some of the things that really stood out to me there. Like us here, they were having unbelievable frigid weather. And each morning the show would start at a certain time, and before that, an hour before, there'd be a line of people out there in the frigid cold standing outside to get in to buy their dream lure that they thought was going to catch them a fish of a lifetime. And it's really amazing to see the impact that fishing has on people in every part of our country now. It's a huge part of people's life. And if they're willing to risk life and limb like they do in that frigid weather to get in there to look at what's new in the fishing world. And that's what these shows are about, to show people what's new, where they can go. And when we go there to talk to people, to learn, to teach them about what we have. But we also learn so much from just talking to people there. And one of the things that stood out to me is that in this year's show, it seemed like the really new thing was company after company had been established to make these big glide baits. Now remember that word, glide, Glide, glide baits. They're baits that are probably 6 to 10 inches long, made out of hard plastic. Often they're jointed, and they represent the fish that these preys are that the sport fish are gonna eat. And people think that by using something this big and looking that natural, they're going to catch the fish of a lifetime. And it's really interesting to see trends like that. I didn't see many booths that had new soft plastic lures, but I want to talk about that in another report. Soft plastics have become so dominant in the fishing world, but now it seems like these big glide baits are everything. People are willing to spend a fortune for them. There was a kid with a booth right across from Linda and me with our Meissner booth, and he had a booth where he made his handmade glide baits, or he called them glide baits and swim baits. Some of them were swim baits that he made out of soft plastic. But I asked him, I said, how much are you getting for these lures? And he said, well, for the large ones, I get $120, and for the medium ones, $100, and for the smaller ones, $90. And it's, those prices sound, I know, off the charts to you, but to these people there, that they seem to think that was a bargain, and they were buying his lures for that price. But in other booths, they were even more expensive. And this is a phenomena. People are always looking for that fish of a lifetime, and that's kind of what we represent. We tell people that if they come to our area, maybe they can catch that fish of a lifetime. But people do dream, and and I guess the fishing world is made up of dreamers. I know I've always been a dreamer, but no kidding. There's so many people that just they romanticize about being out there in the water and catching this monster fish that they've envisioned that would be the story of their life. So that's what these shows show to me. Until next time, folks, this is Don Meissner with the North Country Fishing Report.